Of all the threats to the Earth's natural resources, the greatest, by far, is human activity, especially animal agriculture. As the demand for meat, dairy, and eggs grows, forests, land, and water are being depleted at an alarming rate, and the atmosphere is being irretrievably transformed. 37% of the Earth's habitable land surface is used to raise livestock and the crops that feed them. As the Earth's population swells, the demand for food increases, placing even more strain on a global environment struggling to survive. Meeting the twin goals of producing enough food to feed the planet without destroying the systems that support all life is a monumental task, and it will require a change in what we eat. Huge swaths of once forested lands have been razed to create pastures and to grow feed for animals destined for the plate, endangering the ecological health of all life on Earth. Nowhere is this more apparent than in the Amazon rainforest, which spans 9 countries, is the richest preserve of plants, insects, birds, and other animals on Earth, and is home to 400 groups of indigenous peoples. Millions of acres of the Amazon, the world's largest rainforest, have been clear-cut to support livestock operations that ship meat across the world. Brazil, home to 60% of the Amazon, is the world's largest exporter of beef. Argentina is the next biggest beef exporter in Latin America, and it is one of the top exporters globally. Throughout Latin America, agriculture, largely for cattle and animal feed production, has accounted for 75% of deforestation in that region over the last 20 years. When we diminish ecosystems like the Amazon, the result is extreme biodiversity loss. This disrupts the stability of the systems which all life depends upon: pollination and food production, water purification, soil health, and the regulation of pests and infectious disease. Trees are crucial to a stable climate as they capture carbon from the atmosphere and store it. Deforestation throws this important process out of balance. Many human activities, including industry, transportation, energy production, and agriculture, produce carbon dioxide, methane, and other heat-trapping gases that are warming the planet. The result is a greenhouse effect, in which sunlight passes through the atmosphere and warms the Earth's surface, while an insulating layer of gases slows the escape of heat back into space, causing that heat to build up in the air, oceans, and land. A warmer Earth has caused erratic weather patterns, extreme heat, longer fire seasons, intense storms, and rising sea levels as Arctic ice melts. A warming planet also disrupts the patterns of weather animals and insects depend upon to migrate, reproduce, raise their young, and feed. Currently, our planet is roughly 1.2 degrees Celsius warmer than it was in pre-industrial times. That is, before humanity started burning fossil fuels for energy. And it continues to warm. The 10 warmest years on record have all been in the last decade. Every fraction of a degree matters because it increases the risk of tipping points, thresholds where change becomes effectively irreversible. Almost a quarter of all GHG emissions come from the agricultural sector. That's greater than emissions from transportation, and similar to those from the electricity sector. Across the board, animal agriculture generates far more greenhouse gases than crops grown for direct human consumption. Beef stands out as the worst offender. Calorie for calorie, beef has a climate impact about 40 times higher than most fruits, vegetables, and grains. Finally, climate change is also a public health emergency. The International Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, has documented that human-driven climate change, through more frequent and intense weather extremes, has already caused widespread adverse health impacts, disproportionately affecting the most vulnerable. And climate hazards compound. Heat plus air pollution, hotter days that put stress on the body, and they often come with worse air, especially when wildfire smoke or smog increases, making it harder to breathe and raising health risks. Storms plus displacement. Storms can force families from their homes, cut off medical care, and create long-lasting stress and trauma. Droughts and floods plus the spread of disease. Drought can reduce access to clean water, while floods can contaminate it. Both conditions that make outbreaks and illness more likely. Seen through this lens, dietary change becomes a resilient strategy. Less deforestation, fewer emissions, and more intact ecosystems that buffer heat, floods, and disease. A global study found that only 45% of the caloric value of all crops grown are eaten directly by people. 40% is fed to animals. The remaining 15% goes to other uses, such as biofuels. In 2019, the Eat Lancet Commission, a group made up of 37 leading scientists from a range of disciplines, asked, what pattern of eating could remain nutritionally adequate while also staying within safe operating limits for the earthly systems food depends upon? Climate stability, land availability, fresh water, and biodiversity. Their answer? The planetary health diet, a diet that emphasizes plant foods and minimizes animal products. Why? Because compared with a diet that includes meat and dairy, a plant-based diet is kinder to the planet in every way. Significantly lower greenhouse gas emissions, far less land and water use, and greater preservation of biodiversity. Research published in the Nature Communications study in 2023 suggests that if the world replaced just half of meat and dairy with plant-based alternatives, we could potentially end deforestation and reduce greenhouse gas emissions by around 31% by 2050, an enormous shift toward a more resilient future. Here at the Physicians Committee, we're spreading the word. We're helping farmers convert from animal agriculture to crops through our Convert to Crops initiative. We're pushing for plant-forward policy at the state and national levels. And we're helping communities around the world understand on a practical level how to shift our diets away from reliance on animal agriculture to build a better future for us all. Join us and learn how to make the switch at pcrm.org/climate.